pinch its left arm in that spot where you see that thing. Wiggle around till you find the spot. Further up.
Oh, I see.
Now listen to what it says.
I love it.
That's the way we start the show sometimes.
I love it.
We say, you hear what it says? All right, everybody, you want to have some fun? It says, here we go.
Was this manufactured or did someone do this?
It was manufactured. We recognize it as a religious item.
Oh yeah, just very animistic. Just like the African. Oh, it's so cute.
And then it goes faster and faster, and it does that, and then it's the end of its little show.
It's sort of like a special clone.
Sometimes I see things are dim.
And it's because you got your shades on?
Yeah.
So
they're
this
comfortable.
thing is made like this.
No, it's very bright.
Oh, no. Those ears were added.
Yeah. It wasn't born that way, no.
Oh, I'd like to see it. Oh my, how creative.
That's a chicken bunny.
Oh. I love it.
That's the chicken bunny. And it does a good little dance and sings a good little song.
Want to have some fun? Okay, everybody, here we go.
Want to have some fun? Okay, everybody, here we go. That's a great way to start a show, isn't it? I can do a close up on that. And
Pushing the teacup.
just don't let that cup hit the floor. If the chicken wants to hit the floor, it can, but not that cup. That is my last Wedgwood cup.
Now we started a discussion with the guitar and about Django Reinhardt. Did you know anything about Django Reinhardt's life?
I know nothing about Django Reinhardt except that I know some of his music, and I enjoyed it.
He was a gypsy.
Right.
And he played in a nightclub in Paris when the Nazis were occupying.
I didn't know that.
And
Wow.
fortunately for him, he was not put in a concentration camp. He never could sleep in a bed.
Really?
He had a little gypsy wagon near Versailles. He went there. He slept on the wooden floor.
Would you reach over there and get that box that has the sweetener in it? It's the box in the box closest to you.
And
No, closest to you.
This one.
That, yes.
he kept his gypsy ways even though he was living in Paris.
Right.
It's very unusual for him.
That's
He
In the restaurant, yes, we're going to fill things up.
totally illiterate. Couldn't read or write or anything. And he played guitar like no one else.
Well, yeah, I know that he was the mentor, or for so many musicians, where they
Really.
yeah, they studied him and played and played.
Oh yeah. Well, gypsies were all exterminated, but
the
they
Nazis,
spared
the
him.
gypsies were exterminated.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nazis exterminated all of you, but he was saved because
The Nazis were big into exterminating, weren't they?
Ah, God. Strange.
Ben Shirley. He's the one that
Everybody seems to come up with their own solutions to everything that's wrong.
So did you ever take your eggs home?
I did, and I ate them. I meant to tell you today.
Banty eggs.
Yes, how
Deviled
much
eggs,
I
they were
like.
delicious.
So I assumed that like 3 Banty eggs equal 2 regular. Yeah. Okay, that's
No,
what I was doing.
So 9 eggs would make a 3-egg omelet.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. You were talking about different eggs. I was talking about the deviled eggs you brought in.
I know they were good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very tender.
I ate it.
Whites
I-
and
Yeah.
very
Fresh
tender.
eggs.
Yeah.
They're probably the oldest.
Do you have lots and lots of those? Is that
No.
okay?
Got like 4 girls.
Okay.
But when
4.
they start laying, boy, it doesn't take long to get a dozen out. Like
Uh-huh.
3 days.
Uh-huh.
When they're
They
really
get-
sharp, but they're getting old.
And so they'll just take it in spells.
Yeah, I'll get maybe 6 or 7 eggs a week.
Oh,
now,
okay.
because they kind
Yeah.
of slow down from the spring laying.
Mhm.
But they puff out when they start laying. They're so cute. They're
Mhm.
little milliflores, and they're a real cute little chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Little
Pretty.
French-looking chickens with feathers on their feet.
Oh, uh-huh.
They're very
Little fluffy
cute.
feet. Uh-huh.
Do you ever get any ideas about having chickens and buying a bunch of chicks? Because 40% of them will be roosters.
Roosters, yeah.
40, I say
40.
70.
My friends had a
70%.
farm, and I remember I used to rib them all the time because they kept getting animals, but none of the animals were contributing to the farm. They'd get another horse, and I'd say,
And
well,
these
is the
are-
horse... What is the
Wait,
horse
wait,
making money for you, or is, you know,
Yeah.
what's the horse? No, and his chickens would get out of the coop, and they were all in the trees, in the
Right.
pine trees.
Uh-huh.
And the roosters, yeah, he said, you know, I mean, they were running amok on roosters. They had, you know, 10 roosters, and
They fight.
but I was like, what kind of farm are you running?
Yeah, one time in
Everybody's a pet here.
One time in another life, we had a chicken, a rooster, and
Another life.
he got mean. And my husband at the time decided he was going to kill it and we were going to cook it and eat it.
Mhm. Was it not edible? Was it?
Well, I couldn't eat it. I made chicken and dumplings out of it,
Oh.
but I couldn't.
You can have the heart to eat it.
Eat it.
Did it have a name?
Not really, but
Okay.
it just got mean and kind of.
Mm-hmm.
They get like that, you know.
Mhm.
Some I've got one little rooster that he has that's a real cute little sweet-natured rooster, and he
Mhm.
loves to be petted, and he doesn't.
Now
He'll
that's-
hang,
spur
he'll
you.
hang
Now
out
that's
with you
unusual
all
for
a-
while he's watching TV, making bad stuff on the floor. He just
He likes to.
he'll hang
Whenever
out.
I had him, I had to get rid of my chickens because my neighbor complained,
Mm-hmm.
and so they had to go live at Herb's house
I see.
because I was in the city.
So you
limits.
had little Bantu chickens.
Yeah, we both had them,
Okay.
and then
Did you both have the
I
same
had a
kind
real cute little,
with the feathers on their
little.
feet?
Yeah, I had a real cute little chicken coop made,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and it was chic. It was
Yeah.
A sheep.
a chic little chicken coop.
Upscale.
Finials
Yeah.
and.
Did you take it out there or not? Were you able to move it? or
No,
you had to
no,
leave
it's
it?
built to the back of my garage.
Okay. Well,
And so
Do your-
then the neighbor, you're not supposed to have chickens in the city limits.
mhm.
Well, I didn't think these people were smart enough to know that.
They complained. Was the rooster
And
that
then
got
they
him? or-
eventually,
Oh,
after
yeah.
about 2.5 years, they complained, and
Mhm.
and the animal control people came and said, "Do you have chickens here?"
You have to,
And
in
you
my
went-
refrigerator.
And I said,
Yes.
"Yes."
There are no
And she went-
chickens here.
And she went and looked, and she says, "Well, this is definitely the nicest chicken coop I've seen, but you can't have it in the city."
You can
This is the nicest chicken coop.
You can
Well, I've
have
seen
it.
chicken
You
coops all
actually
around
can.
town for years. I've
You
been.
have to be 150 feet away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I
From
was
the closest.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you need a couple acres or
So,
something.
so then Herb has a chicken story that's funny. Whenever he went to the bookstore in
Oh.
Chicago,
Well, you know, I have a problem with speech because I'm brain damaged, and
Okay.
so people don't
Don't.
take me quite right
Okay.
initially.
Mhm.
So I went to
Barnes and Noble or
no, the other one, Borders,
Borders in Chicago
and I was looking for
on
a
Michigan
book,
Avenue.
and I went to the counter, and I'm a little bit self-conscious. I mumbled. I
Mhm.
said, "Do you have? I'm looking for books about chickens." So the fellow looked at me, and he was a young fellow, you know. He had this real sarcastic look. He's, "You know, mister, you're in the wrong store. We don't sell chickens here.
No,
You
you-
go to a grocery store if you want chickens." And I said, "Oh, God, what can I say?"
You said I want a book about chickens.
Yes, but he was really enjoying himself, condescending
Yeah.
to me.
So you let him go.
I let him go.
You let him
That's
enjoy
just
himself.
a Nice
That's
kid.
just a funny story.
Sky, you're in the wrong star. Oh, God.
And then one of my chickens got scared off into the woods one day, and he chased it all through the woods back there. So.
Well, that's what I want to ask is, do your chickens run free?
He
now?
doesn't
No.
let those chickens run
Okay, you
free,
have
and I
them
think
pinned
that's
up?
terrible. They're always pinned up, and I loved it whenever I had my chickens because I would let them out
Well,
every afternoon,
were
and I'd
they-
go sit with them and watch them
Were they-
with their little antics
Where
because
they're
they're very
pinned
funny.
up, though, they can get out to scratch in the dirt
Yeah,
and
they've
stuff
gotta
like that.
run.
They
Okay,
run.
good.
Yeah, they've got a big run.
Oh, that's probably
I used
good
to take my grandmother in 13th Avenue, Brooklyn, and where they still had the live markets. And she'd walk in there and she'd
pick a live chicken.
pick a chicken out
Mhm.
and she'd follow it. Because she didn't trust nobody.
Uh-huh.
She would follow the butcher to
Mhm.
the back to make sure that he was giving her the chicken that she picked.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Because
they
she
all-
had a certain kind of chicken look that she was looking for.
She just knew which one was gonna taste better or which one, you know.
I bet she did too.
Yeah.
I bet
Yeah.
she had some good taste in chicken.
Yeah.
It's like race horses. You can pick the winner if you're smart enough. I never was.
I
Once
never even,
was.
I didn't even tried.
I
I
did
never-
once.
I know when we
my
were,
uncle
when,
took me to
boy,
the
when-
track. He gave me the binoculars and he was like, "Oh, okay, tell me which one's sweating. Does that one third eye? What's the eye? What's it?" And I'd be like, "Wow, cool binoculars," you know. And he'd be like, "What are you looking at?" I was like, "Look at that over there." He got all pissed
Look
off.
at that woman's hat.
Took the binoculars away from me. He says, "What do you tell? What was that horse sweating?" I said, "I don't know whether the horse is sweating. I was looking at what was over on that screen over there. These are great, you know."
I know.
Yeah, he was like waiting for me to tell him. He was asking me all these questions. I'm like, "You gave me the binoculars, man. These are great. I'm looking at everything." But he was real like, "All right, is the horse sweating on the left leg? Is it, how does he look like when he's walking?" And I'm like, "I don't know.
No.
It's like I want to go pet them, you know." Like,
Sounds like he actually knew how to pick a horse, doesn't it?
no, he didn't.
Well, a lot of
He doesn't
people
have that.
think that you wouldn't know.
He enjoyed the thrill of knowing how to pick a horse, but no.
Well, when
So,
we,
yes.
when we went to Morocco, there were these Arabians everywhere, and their bone structure, they are such beautiful horses, and they were just like everyday commonary
Pulling carts.
pulling carts.
Really?
These beautiful Arabian horses.
Wow.
Just really beautiful horses.
Yes, I house sit for friends over the years who've had farms and had and my favorite story was went up and I'm watching them and they gave me strict directions. Only 1 cup of grain for the 3 horses a day, or all measured out in a cup. And
1 cup
I know the
For
horses. and-
each horse?
No,
Oh, for
between
all?
the 3 of them.
Of
Okay.
oats or
Yeah.
of oats.
It's like it was like sugar, giving them sugar.
Yeah.
Well, I felt bad for them, and I was playing with them in the field and getting along with them. Hey, But horses
and
are
spoiling
smart.
them.
They sized me up. They knew what they were doing. I gave them 3 cups of grain, and then they chased me around the field. And I had to hop over the fence and get back to the house, and they were just happy as horses in the field. But I, and then
They had you under
Joe,
control.
how's it going? I was like, well, I think I gave them a little too much oats because they chased me around the field and they're a bit active. He's like, how much did you give them? I told him, he was like, oh no. He says they're gonna be flying for another day,
Yeah, you semi-starve horse.
Yeah.
Then they'll behave.
Yeah.
You feed them too much.
I don't know, these were smart horses. They sized me up. I was playing with them all day, and then I was like, oh yeah, well here's a treat, I want an extra carrot, an extra.
You
Oh,
could
look
be
at
my
that.
friend.
Yeah.
You'll be my friend if I.
Oh, they
give you
chased
more
me around
food.
that field, all 3 of them, They had me.
fun.
Yeah, they had a great time. I hopped over the
They do
fence and
that.
finally sat
They
on
do
the
that
porch, and I was
to
like, You're not getting any more oats out of me, that's
and
for sure.
they take off with you if you're on them.
Oh,
They
yeah.
try to rub you off on the fence.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
They do that on purpose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they will.
Yeah.
Try to hurt you. Especially if you're scared of them, like I was.
You can't.
They sense it. Yeah.
They sense it. They know
Yeah.
it.
They know. Yeah. Yeah, they know. But they were still good horses. They were good. They were
horses.
fun. But yeah, I'm never forget. And Sean's like, how many oats did you give 'em? Well, I didn't think it would hurt, but they're really pretty active now, Sean. They just got some goats. They bought a farm up in about Abington. They bought 150 acres up by Abington, and They bought. My friend told me she bought 6 goats now, and she's making goat's milk and starting.
Oh
up,
yeah, I did that.
And then they're looking to get involved in some organic gardening, and they still have their horses. They got rid of all their chickens, and then I think they were going to try and get more chickens.
They're certainly.
But in a more organized fashion, so that they could harvest the eggs rather than chasing them up the tree and running amok around the place, you know.
Well, Herb drove down when Herb moved from New Hampshire. He had his 2 goats in the back of his pickup truck, and drove down with the dog and the cat in the front seat and the goats in the back.
Toughest driver to buy.
Did you have any sides up on it or just
a cap?
You had a cap on it.
Yeah, I had a cap on.
Those goats drove me crazy.
Because they were incensed that he was doing this.
Looking at me, but he was goats.
Do you have the goats now? Do you have
They
goats?
died.
They died.
But he kept them going
quite long.
on mashed
14 years.
bananas for.
One of them lost her teeth. She got around 14. I give her bananas. Kept her alive.
Well, I'll tell you a story about Arabian horses. You may know that all of the American thoroughbreds, I'll turn it on. You may know that all of the American thoroughbreds come from, I want to say, 3 or 5 Arabian stallions that are the source of all American thoroughbreds. I want to say 3.
I knew that.
It's a small number. It's a very small number of Arabian horses.
Surprisingly small.
Yeah, that have sired all the.
That if you go back to lineage, then
Right.
you
That's where American thoroughbreds come from, and that's it. My godmother, who was in Iraq and over in the Arab countries for a lot of years, at one point was hanging out with a sheik, and they were getting along really well, and he had a white stallion that she liked very much. She always loved this horse. She loved this horse that he had. And when she got ready to come back to the States one time, he gave this horse to her. And she was very pleased, but she didn't understand the consequences of it. But when she got ready to bring the horse home, she said, well, I'll just take the horse home with me. And when she got ready to bring the horse home, then is when she found out that with customs and all this kind of stuff, it was a big deal, because this was, I think, like I was saying, it's either 3 or 5, and this was about to become number 4 or number 6.
Really?
Yeah, that of the line that would be thoroughbreds, and so a big
How
deal.
could they get a thoroughbred from an Arabian?
It requires an Arabian stallion to begin to start a line of thoroughbreds. The thoroughbreds go back to the Arabian horses.
So could she just bring the juice over?
Supposedly, but anyway, so she brought. She found out she had to go through a lot of paperwork and stuff like that with customs, because and it was a huge deal about bringing this horse into America. But she loved this horse, and she was going to bring it home with her. She brought the horse home. I think it lived 3 days, and it died.
Oh.
It did not stand.
Didn't survive the trip.
It didn't survive the trip. That horse died.
Oh.
And which made her really sad.
Yeah.
But that's
tragic. Did it come over on a ship, or was it thrown over?
I'm assuming on a ship. I would assume on a ship.
Probably suffered on the ship.
See,
when you ship chickens, you're going to always lose some.
Mm-hmm.
When you get them, they're like the little banties. Mm-hmm. They're just about this big. They're little teeny tiny things.
Little chicks.
They're like that size, not that big.
Too much trauma.
And so.
Okay, this is the end of our show, as you see, and we have to tell you that as long as everybody make a motion, as long as something moves on the screen and noise comes out of the box, people will sit and watch it, and things are a lot more.
Hello and welcome to the Asheville Global Report. I'm Eamon Martin.
And I'm Annabelle Peavy.
In our top story this week, safety experts are questioning whether the alleged terror plot to bomb the JFK airport earlier this month posed any direct threat to U.S. security, a claim made numerous times by authorities and the administration.
And as former U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell speaks out against the military prison at Guantanamo Bay, we'll also hear reports on secret CIA prisons around the world and international efforts to shut them down.
In our top story this week, an alleged plot to blow up fuel tanks and pipelines at New York's JFK airport had little chance of success, according to safety experts who have questioned whether the plot ever posed a real threat. U.S. authorities have said they had averted an attack that could have resulted in unfathomable damage, deaths, and destruction, and charged 4 alleged Islamic radicals with conspiracy to cause an explosion at the airport. But according to experts, it would have been next to impossible to cause an explosion in the jet fuel tanks and pipeline. Furthermore, the plotters seem to have lacked the explosives and financial backing to carry out the attack. John Goglia, a former member of National Transportation Safety Board, said that if the plot had ever been carried out, it would likely have sparked a fire, but little else, and certainly not the mass carnage authorities described. Jake McGish, an engineer with Super Safe Tank Systems, also cast doubt on the credibility of the plot, saying, quote, "The fantasy that I've heard about the people saying they will blow the tank and destroy the airport is nonsense. There is no way for the fire to go from tank to tank. That is nonsense. It just won't happen." Besides the alleged plotter's capability, other questions have focused on the main source on the probe, a convicted drug dealer who infiltrated the group and whose sentence was pending as part of his cooperation with police.
The city that was mostly destroyed by the U.S. military Operation Phantom Fury in November 2004 has been under curfew for over 2 weeks, with no signs of relief. The city made headlines when 4 Blackwater USA security mercenaries